When I was a young child, I finally convinced my parents to buy me a depowered Digivice. However, when we showed up at the toy store, they no longer stocked any Tamers merchandise, but they had now started stocking stuff from the newest series of Digimon, which was called Frontier. I didn't even know of anything about this series yet, and while I was disappointed that I could not have a cool card-swiping Digivice, I still got the newly released Detector and fell in love with it instantly, and I have a lot of nostalgic and precious memories playing with this Digivice. I never managed to catch the series on TV as a kid, but I have fond memories of reading all about the Digimon and lore from the series, such as the ancient Digimon and the hybrid Digimon. I found the Game Boy Advance game and also fell in love with the characters, and eventually I finally was able to watch it about 4 years later. But boy, was I disappointed. So before I get into reasons why I don't like Frontier, I just want to address the fact that these are my opinions, they are subjective. I'm not telling you that you have to agree with me. I'm not saying that my opinion is the only opinion that matters. I'm not saying it's objective. It is just subjective. These are my opinions. You are very much welcome to think that Frontier is the best series, and in fact many do. You're allowed to disagree with me on my points here. These are just my reasons why I don't like the series of Digimon Frontier, and I've often been asked to list the reasons why I don't like Frontier, because Frontier is fairly liked. People say that it's fairly underrated, and some people say it's the best series. I, on the other hand, and if you watched my ranking video, I really don't like the series that much. I've put it in F. It is my bottom ranking out of all the series of the Digimon anime. So I just thought I'd want to get that out of the way. But also, there's some positives. The soundtrack for both the English and the Japanese versions are fantastic. And another side note is that Digimon Frontier is probably one of the only seasons of Digimon where I actually prefer the English dub. Usually I'm kind of like, yeah, both are fine, both are pros and cons. With Frontier, a lot of my issues that I have with the series are actually improved with the English dub. Again, subjective opinion. So that's just me. You can say that you don't like dubs. That's fine. For me, I'm fine with the English dub, especially in the case of Frontier, which I feel like it improves upon. So let's get started with all that housekeeping out of the way. So my first issue is basically everything surrounding the token female character, which is Zoe, also known as Izumi. Her character is basically like my top multiple reasons of why I don't like Frontier, and it's for various different reasons. So first being, she's the girl character, but in a much more offensive way than we've previously had the girl characters. We had Mimi, who was your typical girly girl, but we also had Sora, who was kind of a tomboy. And we had Kari, who was the little sister character. And that's all fine, that's all well and good. They had 3 very different girls as the characters. Then in 02 we had Hikari again, but in more of a, she's not just the little sister anymore. And then we had Miyako. Then season 3 we had Ruki/Rika, who again was a different kind of girl. And while in Tamers, Rika/Ruki was the token girl for a lot of the series until Juri became more of a relevant character, she was not as token girl offensive as Zoe in Frontier is. So Zoe is seen as a love interest for 3 of the 5 other main characters. Well, 3 out of, other 5, so the only ones that she's not hinted at to be a love interest are Koichi and Tommy. Takuya, JP, and Koji all have like what I would call shippable moments, where there's meant to be some implied crush, either both ways or one way, or blushing when the other's around. Sort of like the crushes that you see in a lot of the kids' cartoons. It's oh, that they're touching and now they're both blushing, and that sort of thing. And we have a lot of those moments with most of the cast, not just one. There's going to be shippable moments, but typically it's not one girl with the rest of the cast. It might be, maybe there's a love triangle like with Taichi and Yamato with Sora. Not like with the majority of the cast, which is all male, other than her. So that's a shame in its own way. She's often seen as a reward, especially with one of the final battles. We have her saying that if Takuya wins, because she's not involved in the battle, no, she says, "Oh, we'll go on a date," and she's already just limiting herself to being an award for the character, a reward to beat the big bad. Usually they are fighting in the big bad, and they end up all sort of fighting and fusing into Susanomon, but for the most part, she's not. Which brings me to my other point. Her, along with Tomoki and JP, they basically spend a lot of time not being relevant. A big chunk of the series has them giving their spirits to Takuya and Koji so they can become their fusion forms, their unified spirits, which uses all the other spirits that they've got. So they have to give their powers on so those two can fight, which is very annoying, especially because Zoe spends a lot of the series actually losing and not having her spirit. She loses her spirits when they get stolen by the dark spirits. She also loses in her evolution episode, which is fairly unheard of in Digimon. Typically in their evolution episode, they are stronger than they will ever be for the rest of the series. And that's typical. They're usually like this impossible force that is just going to beat whatever the Mon of the week is. The exception being Lilymon, who does lose at the end of her evolution episode, but the fight itself, she actually wins. As for Zoe evolving to Fairymon for the first time, she loses against the Mon of the week, which is Woodmon, and has to be rescued by one of the boys, being Koji, who has Lobomon. So that is kind of a little bit weird. We finally have something new for Digimon. We have a character losing in their evolution episode, but it's the token girl. It just kind of hits a little bit weird. If it was the Goggle Boy, I wouldn't have a problem. Like, that's something unique. Usually the Goggle Boy wins everything. But why is it specifically the token girl? Another thing with Zoe, and yes, this video is just the why Zoe ruined Digimon Frontier, or why there only being one girl in the cast ruining Frontier, is that her character growth is learning that being an introvert is bad. We have this moment where we get a flashback and she's hanging out with the other girls her age. She's just come to Japan from Italy, and for memory the dub tries to make it more of they're being kind of racist, but what actually happens and what the show is trying to show you is that the girls say, "Hey, Zoe," it's like they're inviting her to hang out. "I'm going to the bathroom. Do you want to come with me?" And Zoe, being fairly normal, says, "I don't need to go. Why would I go to the bathroom with you?" And this is treated as a bad thing. And her growth, her epilogue moment is, "And now I know how to have friends," which she was fine from the beginning. That's basically the problem with it. The way that it's written just comes across as being an introvert and not going to the bathroom with people is a bad thing. You're meant to be friendly. And that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. It's very anti-introvert, and it's like you have to be personable. She's just being unique, and she was fine the way she was. I don't know why that's her character moment. And that's about it. So those are my points involving Zoe as a character being a big problem, and the characters in general, how Zoe, JP, and Tommy are kind of left to the side for a lot of the series. More so than previous series. They all have their, the blue and the red boy. They will be the main characters, and then the other ones kind of help out. This one was even more so that. And then my last point, which is something that even people who like Frontier say that this is negative, and it's the entirety of the Royal Knights arc. It's unique. It's cool for characters to lose against the bad guys. That's cool. I like it the first time, but it happens for about 5 times over the next, like, 10 or so episodes or something along those lines. That's when it gets a little bit old. So those are basically my main reasons, or at least the ones I can kind of spitball, that I don't like Frontier, and why that, in my personal opinion, it is the worst series of Frontier. Again, subjective opinion, not objective. I'm not saying that it's a bad series for everyone and everyone has to agree with me. You're allowed to like it. Power to you if you like it. Power to you if it's your favorite series. These are the reasons why it's not for me. So that's it for this video. Let me know your thoughts and comments about Frontier in the comment section below. Again, I'm not saying that you're not allowed to like Frontier, so please understand that. These are just the reasons why I personally don't like it. Like this video if you really think that Zoe deserves better, or they should have at least made one of the other characters a girl. I've heard some internet scuttlebutt about how Koji was meant to be a girl initially, and I feel like that would basically fix all my issues with Frontier. If it was everything was the same, but Koji was a girl, it's still a little bit annoying that Zoe was treated as introvert bad. Like, that's still annoying, but it would be less annoying if she wasn't the token girl. Even her losing in her evolution episode should be rescued by another girl. That's fine. That's better at least. So that would fix a lot of things. So I guess like this video for that possibility. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have subscribed, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies. And of course, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!